right, welcome back to the Fast Break with Taylor and Jake. I'm Jake Merritt, and this is Taylor Harper, and this is episode, I want to say, is it 21?
22, I think.
22
22.
of the Fast Break.
We've made it 22 weeks, man. It's actually a little bit longer because we went over Christmas break. We didn't do it for about a week or two, but
yeah. So, today should be all right. As you guys know, season is still on pause, so
day number 100,738 without basketball.
Yeah, exactly. It's been 84 years. Remember on Titanic?
Yes.
That's what it feels like. Today we're really excited to talk to you about like the state birds of all the different states. That's what we're going to be going over today.
Yeah. It's gonna be
start with Alaska.
Alaska state bird. If you guys don't know what it is, I don't know either. So we're not going to talk about that, unfortunately, today. If you guys really wanted to talk about birds, then maybe there's another podcast out there. If there's another podcast about state birds, then go listen to it, because we're not the best source for that.
Just kidding. We're going to talk about the player profile, and Taylor has selected that this week.
So, the player profile, I think people in Utah will probably respect a little bit more. But even then, this guy is not the best basketball player. I've got some opinions about him that I'm going to share that I think a lot of people don't have the same opinion about. Player profile today, Jake.
It's a great player profile.
What the heck is this? What is? I was trying to bring it up on the computer and have Jake be like, oh, okay. But that did not work, unfortunately. It is Jimmer Fredette.
Oh my gosh.
So our player profile today is Jimmer Fredette. Once again, if you're in Utah, you probably like him more than other states. But then again, you might not if you're in Utah, because
I don't like him. Never have, never will.
Why?
Well, I don't like BYU. So that was number one. Number two, I think he was extremely overhyped. He was, picked 10th in the draft?
10th.
Yeah. I think he is a bad team player. I think he is a poor leader. He does not play defense. I think it's the shape of his face, too. No, he's all right. I just don't care for him.
I can't bash you. I bashed Joe Ingles for no apparent reason last week. So.
Yeah, I don't like Jimmer. I did think it was really funny, though. I went to the Suns versus Jazz game last year right after they got him, and all the Jazz fans were cheering, and he just kept putting up shots and missing, and he finally got one. And then all the Jazz fans went crazy. And then Donovan Mitchell, I think it was Donovan Mitchell or Gobert, was like, what are you guys doing? Why are you cheering for this guy who was here 10 years ago? Who never won anything significant? He took BYU to the Sweet 16. Well, yeah, freaking congratulations. Didn't do anything.
So, here's my opinion about Jimmer Fredette. I don't think Jimmer... I think when he very first came into the league, I thought he was decent, and I'm going to explain why. Mm-hmm. So, for his career, he averaged a very abysmal 6 points.
This is NBA career.
This is NBA career, which 241 games, 6 points. This is where I do have flaws, though, with 1.4 assists as a point guard. I could get it in and play minutes, but even his per 36, he never averaged more than 5 assists a game, which is not good.
That's not good.
For a point guard per 36, that's not good.
No.
But regardless, he's not there to pass. I don't think he ever should have been a point guard, even at BYU. Jackson Emery was their shooting guard at BYU. Do you remember Jackson? Mm-hmm. Jackson Emery was a flat-out, lights-out shooter, a fantastic defender. But I think he probably should have been the point guard more than Jimmer. But regardless, Jimmer to me is a shooting guard, and what shooting guards do is shoot. And in that sense,
he did do that.
He averaged his rookie season 7.6 points. Did you know that was that high? In only 18 minutes of play. So that's not awful. Like his per 36, like point-wise.
It's 14 points. 14
points. He had in 2013, 2014, his per 38 was 20.6. I mean, if he really wanted to, I think he could have done good in the NBA. I think the hype killed it because a guy from BYU, a school that's not technically known, or very well known. It's not like Kentucky, Duke, Kansas.
Right.
It's never one of those. Was regarded as a top 5 pick, ended up being number 10. But regardless, he was a potential like superstar. I don't know about superstar, but he was hyped.
Yeah.
He was really hyped. I think he was probably the leading scorer in the entire nation. So I mean, I guess that's a lot of weight on your shoulders. And coming in, like Jake said, not athletic whatsoever, has no defensive skills, has no playmaking skills. Coming into a grown man's league.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately what caused him to fail, and obviously he succeeded in the Chinese Basketball Association.
I mean,
Honestly, I don't think he's a bad person. I just don't personally like him as a player, and I think it was because he was so hyped, and I'm not a BYU fan whatsoever. I think another reason he got a lot of attention is because he was actually, I mean, he was really taking further shots.
Right.
Maybe before got as noticed for it. I think Steph was known as a good shooter, but he wasn't doing at that time, about 2010, 2011, what he then did a few years later. So Jimmer really was one of the first known players to be shooters. Shooting from 4-point range, you know. Right. So really, his shooting is incredibly impressive. I think Tyler Haws was a much better basketball player.
I do agree with that.
All-time leading scorer at BYU. But Jimmer was just Jimmer did get a lot of attention, and I can understand why, you know. But yeah, it's and then when I did go to that Jazz game last year, I was watching. You know, all eyes are on Jimmer, right?
Right.
I mean, he's the local legend, and really his defense was.
He can't play defense.
Really bad. I mean, he was getting burned. I mean, they were attacking him every single
like
play.
When people
he was
say
beat every single play.
When people say James Harden can't play defense, he at least knows how to play defense. Jimmer has no clue on how to play defense, which is sad. But like Jake said, he's been playing in China, and in China, his rookie season averaged 37.3. Yeah. So he can play basketball, just not NBA. Not NBA setting. He's not that good to compete. The competition is not for him, unfortunately. I do like Jimmer, and I really wished he would have succeeded. And like I said, I think his best fit would have been. I actually do think he would excel. I shouldn't say excel. I think he would fit in really well with Golden State, like right now. Mm-hmm. I think if Golden State brought him on, or even Houston, some of these strict 3-point shooting teams, I think he'd do okay. I really do, because when he came in the league wasn't a huge 3-point shooting league quite yet in 2011, but now it's fully developed into a 3-point shooting league.
Yeah, but, I mean, if you think about it, like JJ Redick, for example, has been either starter or role player for like 15 years in the league, and he's not like he's not like a Kawhi Leonard on defense or Tony Allen.
I was going to ask you, what do you think the difference is? Because J.J. Redick's not that good of a defender either. What makes the difference between J.J. and Jimmer?
I think he's I would guess probably more consistent. I think he's better catch and shoot than Jimmer. I think Jimmer's kind of a shoot off the bounce more. And I mean, I think a lot of teams have, obviously looked at Jimmer and thought, can we make him work in our system? Right. And they've evaluated him, and I mean, these are NBA teams, and a lot of people may say they just don't like him, but I think teams want to win, and they'll bring in the players that they think will help them win, and they don't think that Jimmer can do that. Maybe because he can't really fit into their offense as skilled as an offensive player as he is.
Right, and
maybe it's just a system thing. I don't know.
Well,
I'm not an NBA scout.
Regardless, we've talked about Jimmer far too long, but. He was a really good college player, and if you guys ever want to look at Jimmer highlights, go look at his college, because his NBA doesn't have any highlights. He does have a career high of 24. He's made 6 3-pointers in a game, which is not bad. Like I said, he started out, I think, decent, and then he just kind of fell apart. But I think that's enough about Jimmer. So there is an interesting topic going on, and it looks like you already have it pulled up, possibly. Where do the Warriors go from here? Because obviously they're keeping Curry, they're keeping Clay. Draymond was supposed to lead the team and didn't.
Mm-hmm.
They traded for Wiggins. If you have to keep either Wiggins or Draymond, who are you going to keep?
Probably Draymond. If I'm the Warriors, I would go with Draymond because he helped. And as much as I don't like Draymond, and even more recently, I've come to dislike Draymond even more because anytime he opens his mouth, I really don't care for what he has to say. But I think he is a good defender. I think he's a team leader, and Wiggins is about the opposite of that.
Right.
On the Golden State team where Steph and Clay aren't really like vocal leader types. I think you kind of have to have someone who's kind of a beast out there on the court, just kind of a dog. Right. And I think Draymond brings that to the team more than anyone else.
Right.
So I would keep Draymond. I would just say, like, Draymond, just shut up.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the key. If he really would just shut up.
They had the most talented roster probably of all time.
I would
two
go
of
that
the
far.
probably two
I
of
would
the
go
top
that far.
five shooters and Steph and Clay. Two of the top five shooters of all time, Steph and Clay. Top 2 or 3 scorer in Kevin Durant. A defensive player of the year in Draymond Green. And he managed to make their best player leave. Right? They'd won 2 championships, and he managed. I think Draymond, personally, is responsible mostly for Kevin Durant leaving.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if Kevin Durant ever really felt like he fit in because he wasn't part of that original core for the Warriors. But I don't think he really cared. But once Draymond was like, we were winning before you, we don't need you. Like, he really said that to him.
Yeah, right.
Called him the B word, which you don't call your best player.
Right.
Or just another man. And I think Draymond actually has hurt the Warriors, but I think he helps them more than Wiggins does.
I totally agree. I love Wiggins, and I really wanted Wiggins to succeed, and I really wanted Wiggins to be what he was supposed to become. He really was like a potential. They were I honestly could have seen Wiggins as like Tracy McGrady. I really could have. A super high volume scorer, a solid defender, and I think that's what he is. He just cannot win. And it's sad because you look at that Minnesota team, that's not a bad roster. They just cannot make it work.
I mean, they had Jimmy Butler and Karl Anthony Towns and Jeff Teague and Taj Gibson. That's a very fun starting 5. Yeah, that's a good starting 5. And they didn't.
They made it as the 8th seed.
Did they?
And got swept by the Rockets.
Yeah.
Kind of disappointing. I mean, even like, we won't go too much into that, just because
they could have. I think Jimmy Butler was willing. I don't think he hated the place of Minnesota. I think it was just the team culture that he just couldn't deal with it, and that's why I don't think he worked there. Talent wise, Wiggins, Butler, and Karl Anthony Towns, that could be a 6th seed in the Western Conference.
That's a dang good big 3, I think.
But obviously it didn't work out, and I think it's because I just don't know if Wiggins is. I mean, I don't know him well enough to say he's like not a competitor, but I just don't think he's like a killer.
Right.
So, I think the Warriors. I've kind of like the last week since our last podcast. I think I've kind of been thinking, I think the Warriors will bounce back pretty good, maybe be a 4th, 5th, 6th seed. But I could even see them going, maybe 2nd or 3rd and bouncing back up pretty high.
I really could too.
I really do. They're a good team, and they've got some great players, and it's obviously a good franchise. They built something so good that I think they can rebound.
I really want to like speak my mind just for half a second, really quick. And this is not because I'm a Curry fan or somewhat of a Warriors fan. That's nothing. The people who think Stephen Curry is overrated clearly have not watched him play. I don't think in any way, shape, or form Stephen Curry is overrated. Like in any way whatsoever. People say he can't defend. Okay, he's not the best defender. To me, he's really like Allen Iverson, defensive wise. People always say Allen Iverson was such a dang good defender. Allen Iverson himself says, I was not a good defender. I was just good in the passing lanes. And that, I think, heck, Stephen Curry has led the league in steals before. Okay? And he doesn't just shoot. What's his career 3-point percentage?
3-point percentage, 43.
So people who think he takes a lot of threes, he does, but he makes almost half of them. James Harden, I don't even know what he's at, but James Harden, I can guarantee you, career pre-3-point percentage is nowhere near even 40. I would say it'd be like 35. To me, Harden is not a 3-point shooter. Stephen Curry is a pure shooter, off the dribble, catch and shoot, whatever.
Playmaker.
He's a playmaker. You don't have to average 10 assists to be a playmaker. You take a look at the San Antonio Spurs. Never once has Tony Parker ever been ridiculed for his lack of passing because they get so many passes. The Golden State Warriors have led the league in assists year after year after year. Stephen Curry, by any means, is not overrated. And I'm sick and tired of people saying that he is overrated. It is just ridiculous how people think he is overrated just because they hate him. So what if he chooses mouth guard? So what if he does a little shimmy? Let him. He's smaller than everyone else. Let him celebrate a little bit. And I just think Stephen Curry, I don't know. Stephen Curry, to me, is a top 3 player in the league. I really do. And I'm sick and tired of people trying to hate on him for literally no apparent reason. Like, there's really no reason to hate on Stephen Curry. He has literally done nothing wrong in his NBA career. And I know you're not a huge fan of him, but he's never once said he's overrated. Jake's never once said that.
Steph Curry can change a game like nobody else, right? I mean, he puts up shots that make you shake your head, and he's like a lot. He is. I'm sure this stat is actually not usually very published. It's called the "Oh no, yeah" stat because you watch him play, and you're like, "Oh no, yes!
Oh yeah!"
You're like, "Oh no, what is he doing? Putting up that shot? Okay, all right, it went in. I don't care." I mean, honestly, he makes you throw your hands up, and you just go, "How do you stop this guy?" Yep. Right when he's on fire. Just. He's played, how many years has he played in the league?
I think 10.
About 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Technically 11, but this last season he played in 5 games, so 10 seasons. Here's what he's done in 10 seasons. 6-time All-Star. In 2016, he was a steals champ, 6-time All-NBA, 2-time MVP, one of them unanimous. 2015-16 scoring champ, 3-time champion. And he was all rookie. That's if he hung it up right now, he would go down as absolutely one of the greats.
I think he is. I think when his career is all said and done, I think he will be a top 5 to top 3 point guard of all time. I don't think he can.
Maybe not like traditional point guard, but who played the point guard position.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely top.
I mean,
top 5, if not top 3.
I can't see anyone, as of the way the league is right now, I can't see anyone topping Magic, because in my opinion, Magic is the greatest point guard of all time. I live in Utah, love John Stockton, love him to death. I know he's the assist leader and the steals leader, but Magic Johnson was on a whole nother level, in my opinion. But I think when it's all said and done, it very, very well could be Johnson, Stockton, Steph.
Yeah.
I would have no shame in saying that.
Oh, yeah. I would say he's definitely better than like Jason Kidd and Steve Nash. I mean, look at the way he's won.
Right.
You know? And anyways, kind of back to what we were saying.
Sorry.
I think the Warriors will bounce back because Steph is good enough. I think Klay is going to bounce back well because he's just a pure shooter. And he did tear his ACL, but he has never relied on athleticism.
Right.
He's just been a shooter, which he can totally get back. And I think they'll get a good draft pick. I think they may surprise us with who they draft, but I would guess if James Wiseman is on the board, I'm guessing they're going to go there. Which I don't think he'll be an all-star his first year in the league. It may take a couple years, but I think he'll be a good contributor.
Right.
So I just have this feeling the Warriors are going to come back and be pretty good.
Yeah, I do too.
Like top 3, I would guess. So led by Stephen Curry. I think he's going to. I think he's kind of tired of being disrespected as well, because I think a lot of people have always. I mean, the Warriors play very team-oriented basketball, and I think that's why a lot of people maybe don't give him the credit that he deserves. But with Kevin Durant being gone, I think he'll come and he'll want to show that he is, a great player.
Well, and I didn't go deep into the article. I didn't even open the article. I just saw the headline. Stephen Curry is learning about leadership. He's been watching this Last Dance documentary, and he's been learning about leadership. So if now he can learn leadership, then it's over. And this is another topic from the time, but like even before Klay, I don't think now, but I think before Klay tore his ACL, I think let's say Lakers did not sign LeBron or Davis. Let's say they traded for Klay. I think Klay Thompson could be a franchise player. I think Klay Thompson could lead a team.
I think he could.
I think to me, Klay Thompson is underrated. I think in his skill set, people just he's a catch shooter. He's really not.
I think that's
he's really not
what he does, but that's not all he could do.
He's developed a totally different game. We can talk about that another time, but I really think Steph and Klay are two of the most unique players and talents the NBA's ever seen. And I think people need to stop bashing the Warriors and actually appreciate them, because who knows, they might be done. They might not win again. And while they were beating your favorite teams, you were bashing them. And there's really no reason to. Sorry, I'm looking at you. I'm not talking to you at all. You were bashing them, Jake. No, but the whole world was literally hated the Warriors for no apparent reason. But
I think, I think the reason they started to get a lot less liked is, number one, because they were winning, and teams that win just tend to be disliked. But number two, I think it was because they did have a lot of technical fouls for behavioral problems on the court, and after a while you kind of get sick of it. And I think they were pretty arrogant, but I mean they obviously have dominated the NBA the last 5 years, so can you really be all that upset about that?
The one thing that I really admire about the Warriors, and it's the same with the San Antonio Spurs, besides Kawhi, they both have their team is from the draft.
Yeah,
they drafted Curry. They drafted Thompson. They drafted Green. And then
Kevon Looney.
They got put Durant aside, obviously, but Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, David Robinson, they were all from the draft. Mm-hmm. They didn't. They traded for Durant. Screw that. But the Spurs, they have nothing. You can't say anything bad about the Spurs because they've literally drafted their way to success, which to me is one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah, I mean. The thing is, it seems like built teams really tend to last longer than bought teams.
Right.
For example, the Heat had a pretty good run for 4 years, and then it was over after they'd left. They pretty much bought a team. Obviously, they drafted Dwayne Wade and some of the key players Chalmers and Haslam and stuff like that. But the Spurs, Tim Duncan, did he ever miss the playoffs? Ever?
I don't think he ever. This last year, I think, was the very first year in 20 years that the Spurs have missed the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
And not won 50 games in a season. They had a humongous stretch of winning 50 games in a season. That, to me, is one of the most impressive stats I've ever heard in my life. I think it's 17 years of winning 50 games.
Yeah, I mean, how do you hate the Warriors for drafting their way into success? Right. I mean, I can understand frustration when these big markets just buy these players, and I mean, you think of the Clippers this last year, the Lakers, really what the Heat have done before, which I'm a Heat fan. I like it, Right. But I absolutely respect the crap out of the teams that can build their way to success. I mean, it's something like teams like the Jazz or Denver, or the Pistons. That's kind of these types of organizations have to do that.
Right.
It's a luxury, and you probably feel this way as a Celtic as well. It is a luxury to be able to bring in free agents, good free agents. I personally rather be the team that can bring in the free agents
Right.
rather than having to build through the draft. But I think that's actually a more foolproof way to do it. If you can. It's just
Right.
really difficult to do.
Right, absolutely. I agree 100%. So speaking of like Draymond Green and stuff like that, I saw a funny post. I really don't know why he was even in this. Maybe you saw it. Maybe I sent it to you. I don't even know. But it was a bunch of centers: Dennis Rodman, Ben Wallace, Draymond Green, Kevin Garnett. I'm just gonna say those. Out of those 4 guys, who would you rely on more to grab a rebound? I don't know why they even threw Draymond Green in there. Let's trade Draymond and put Kevin Love in there. That's what I would want to put in there.
What's the question? Who would I want?
Who would you want? Who would
if
you
I
think
needed
would grab
someone
it?
to grab a
Yeah,
rebound?
between Ben Wallace, Kevin Garnett, Dennis Rodman, and let's now say Kevin Love,
Well,
and then Andre Drummond.
I mean, I did watch The Last Dance yesterday, so I do have to go with Dennis Rodman.
I mean,
He had seven games of 0 points and at least 20 rebounds.
that's the
That's
best stat line I've
incredible.
ever heard.
That's my favorite stat I've ever heard.
That's great.
Apparently, Marcus Camby did it twice.
Are you serious? Marcus can't get for him. A very awkward jump shot, man.
But Dennis Rodman, man. So if you haven't watched The Last Dance episodes 3 and 4, which aired on Sunday, I would absolutely recommend it if you can. Like, this documentary has been really, really well done, and I just look forward to the next 3 weeks as they finish it out. But is that kind of where you were going? You were talking about Dennis Rodman?
Yeah, I was gonna pick Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman, like. So you didn't really watch the documentary?
No, and I really need to.
The guy was crazy.
I saw like clips and stuff like that, but I've actually been watching a lot of Dennis Rodman highlights this past week.
It's amazing how crazy he was off the court, but how focused he was on the court.
Right.
That's the only way he managed to stay on the Bulls and coexist with Michael Jordan. Like, Michael Jordan is one of the most locked-in, competitive, focused players, along with, his coach, Phil Jackson, incredibly focused, incredibly locked in. Same with, Scottie Pippen, also, very focused player who developed a lot over his career.
Right.
And Dennis Rodman, when he was on the court and in practice, he was locked in, he was focused, he was studying, he was learning his opponents. And then he goes, and I don't know if you know this, but like during I think it was the 98 season, he took just the middle of the season, not All-Star break, just took a vacation to Las Vegas.
Yep.
I think they said you can be gone for like 2 days. They gave him 2 days to just cut loose. It was 3 or 4, and then he came back after who knows what everything that went on there.
Right.
I don't think I'd want to know everything that he did during that 3-4 day period. But he comes back and gets right back to it. It's crazy. You just kind of got to cut him loose a little bit. You got to give him a little bit more leash, and it worked out for the best for him.
Did you ever see his wedding picture?
In the dress? Yeah.
I mean, dude's a crazy goof. But I texted Jake yesterday. I said I really, really want a Dennis Rodman jersey.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Dennis Rodman, to me, man. Like, if I'm like, the biggest talk is the 72-10 Bulls, would they beat the 73-9 Golden State Warriors?
I would say yes.
I would say, to be honest,
The
I
Bulls
think
to beat the Warriors.
the 73-9 Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of the toughest decisions, but I might give the edge to the Bulls almost just because of Dennis Rodman. I mean, obviously, like Michael Jordan, etc. Don't get me wrong, I love those guys. I'm not saying Dennis Rodman is the best player on the team, because Michael's going to do what Michael does. Pippen's going to do what Pippen's going to do. Curry's going to do what Curry's going to do, and Klay Thompson's going to do what Klay Thompson does. But between Dennis Rodman and Draymond Green, I'm taking Dennis Rodman any day of the week. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman, even like when he's back on the Pistons, I mean, he was young and athletic. The thing that I really admire about him is people who play basketball, they love to score, and scoring feels really nice. When you shoot and that ball goes through, you're like, great. I feel so good. I'm going to shoot again. And then again. And again. Dennis Rodman, I don't think he liked to score. Or whatever. That's the thing I really admire about Dennis Rodman is he did not have to score and didn't score to be good. I mean, how tall was he? 6'6"?
6'7".
6'7".
I think he was like 6'7". He was a pretty muscular 6'7".
Right, he was
pretty athletic 6'7".
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't just end up grabbing 20 rebounds in a game. I mean, you're gonna grab some rebounds. Some some shots are just gonna sometimes they just bounce your way, and you're just gonna end up with it. That's how, every NBA player has gotten a rebound at some point. That's how Isaiah Thomas has rebounded, But you have to just be an animal, just a monster to be rebounding the way he did.
Yeah.
So crazy as he is, you have to love the competitor that he was on the court. And I don't know, I don't want to talk too much about his who he was off the court, because
you guys can Google that stuff if you want
to.
You can
decide what you think about him. I'm sure there's a lot of opinions. Some people might say he's just too crazy and that's ridiculous.
Right.
Everything that he did, he's just a ridiculous person. And some people are more like, hey, if that's how you feel, just do it. So whatever, we won't get into that, but you have to admire what he did on the court.
Right.
So yeah, I like Dennis Rodman, but
I think we are about done. So it was kind of funny last week in our episode, the very first start, we said this will probably not be our longest episode because we didn't have a lot to talk about. And it ended up being our legit longest episode. So we probably won't put you guys through that hour pain again until, I don't know, I feel like our episodes could go an hour long, as soon as the playoffs start and we actually have legit material to talk about. Mm-hmm. But just a quick FYI, NBA targets May 8th as the earliest date to allow some limited workouts in selected cities. Did you hear about that at all?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically if your city lifts the release of I know in Utah, May 31st they're going to start, or is it 31st, right? They're going to start opening stuff back up again. So if their city allows you to do that, training facilities will be open, so NBA teams will be able to go back and start practicing.
I think they said 4 players at a time.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna be open the doors.
5-on-5 scrimmage.
Yeah.
on each side of the court.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be like that, but I think it's a huge step because, like we talked about before, Gordon Hayward, Jason Tatum, other players, they don't have hoops, they don't have access to playing basketball, so just getting them a little bit of training at a time. It's going to be big.
And last week, I do have an update as far as my positivity meter. Last week, I was remember I was what was I saying? I'm thinking maybe 10-20%.
Oh yeah, you feeling better?
Returns. I am feeling better.
You feeling a little better?
I'm at 33%.
Oh, Jake,
hey,
that's 33.
Yeah, I'll go 35. I'm 35% that we're gonna finish out the season. No, I'll make it 40.
85%.
I'm 40% that. Well, the more I think about it, the more I talk to myself. I'm
talking yourself out of it?
No, talking myself into it. At this point,
woohoo!
I mean, I think we'll kind of have to see. I'm 100% certain it's not going to be without fans. It's not going to be with fans.
Right. Yes, I do agree with that.
Which is a bummer, but it's at the end of the day. It's
I just want closure.
Exactly.
And then give them a long off season. Hopefully get this virus completely gone and start fresh for next season.
I don't know if even next season is going to come back with fans.
Oh, fans? No. I don't think fans will be back
until there's a vaccine.
Until there's a vaccine and even potentially a couple months after
I would guess at least a year.
Yeah, I do too.
I think we are gonna finish off this off season, or probably I don't know. I would guess probably go into the playoffs.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I don't think they're gonna finish the regular season. I don't think there's gonna. It's gonna be sad. I don't think we'll get to go to an NBA game for a while, but It is what it is. It'll be just nice to have them back. I watched the NFL draft and have paid more attention, more thoroughly to that than I have ever before in my entire life. Guarantee it's because I was watching the playoffs every other year, and I mean I like football, but I really didn't get into the draft at all.
Right.
But this year I was like, I watched Skip and Shannon Undisputed on Fox Sports, and it was almost like if it was a normal episode when they were just going over like draft picks and teams and stuff like that. I'm like, it's fresh, new material that has been so hard to come by. So that was great, and I can't wait till the season gets back.
And I think that's huge for sports fans and like specifically for the NFL because it was their draft.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're in this thing where there's no football, there's no baseball, there's no soccer, there's no basketball, but there's a draft, which means
there's an off-season.
Which means they know that there will be a season eventually, and they're getting these college. Because to be honest, it would just flat out be garbage if these college players, like for the NFL, they didn't have a draft and they just had to wait and wait and wait. But now these players know they're in the NFL.
Going on?
They're in the NFL now, and they've got some closure that way, and they've got some momentum. They can start practicing and training instead of just sitting at home. Am I ever going to be able to be in the NFL?
Or if they didn't get drafted, like, okay, maybe I need to start looking at if there's a practice team I can sign with, or if I just need to hang up football and start looking for a career, you know. So that was good. I think it also shows there is going to be an off season in the NBA with a draft, and they can do all that, and no matter how limited it is, if the NFL can do 7 rounds, the NBA can do 2.
Right.
So I think that was a good sign. It was really nice to just have some fresh sports, like, content.
Yeah, like real, not previously recorded stuff. What's happening now, and I think I'm excited for the future because I know there's going to be a future with sports.
Yeah.
But.
And it'll just, I think we'll all appreciate it a little bit more.
Right.
For sure.
Just a little quick thingy. We're scraping for material, people. We are literally clawing at our computers. What can we talk about? And it is very hard to come up with stuff to talk about. So now is the perfect time to send in requests on teams, on players, on anything. If you want us to talk about the stinking state birds, we will talk about the state birds. What I'm trying to say is now is the best time, honestly, to start submitting anything, any questions you have for us, anything you want us to talk about. Now is the perfect time because it's hard for us to come up with material. And as you've noticed, the majority of our material is either The Last Dance or previous stuff, like highlights and previous players. So it is hard. So please just reach out to us and let us fulfill your questions or whatever. You guys have a really nice and safe week.